I mean, they want to impress. So all of a sudden, we're going to have our new licensees that are learning, getting so much value from the team. You're building so much loyalty. They appreciate your mentorship. And then we go from a situation where they say, no one ever has time for me, I don't know enough, to, wow, this is impressive. And right now, this is a massive recruiting tool. We've really been formalizing our team onboarding process, especially now that agents are looking for more value. All of a sudden, as sales volume started to dip with the increase of interest rates, all of a sudden, everybody admits, hey, I got to learn some stuff to be able to succeed in real estate, which is actually great for leaders out there. This process could, in theory, work for brokerages that really want to help their agents as well, too. However, we call it team onboarding because it is probably slightly more geared towards teams, because teams traditionally take a more interested approach in the success of their agents, and they're a little bit more active with accountability and lead distribution and things like that. So hence the name team onboarding process. So one of the things I want to start by showing you is our team onboarding calendar. We've used agent onboarding calendars many a times. And so what I've done is I've created a team onboarding calendar, and I've actually expanded it like it always should have been. And this is what it looks like. This is weeks 1 and 2, and you can see weeks 1 and 2 up in the right-hand corner. And then if you move down to weeks 3 and 4, you can see another calendar. And if we scroll down to weeks 5 and 6, it starts to get a bit lighter. We scroll down to weeks 7 and 8, it gets even lighter. So this is like the first 2 months. Now these are editable, so you can totally make this go out, because you're going to see a lot of checklists, and I will come back. We'll come back to this. You're going to see a lot of people. You hear about 30, 60, 90 checklists, first 100 days checklist. We even have our first quarter checklist. And that's what agents and teams have used for years. And I like it. It has a point, but I don't love it. Here's why I don't love it. They become to-do lists. And I don't like to-do lists. I don't find many teams or brokerages ever use their 30, 60, 90 or whatever we're going to call it, checklists. They may try to, they give it to the agent never follows up with it. Things like that, but it doesn't get it. And the reason is just because our general principles of time management tell us we have to have a by when, not just a by when date. It's when are we going to do these activities throughout the day? Because if you don't do that, then the human brain starts making choices. And if you allow yourself to make choices about when you're going to get things done, you're just not going to do them. You're going to have to do the laundry or, pick the kids up, or you'll have all kinds of different family excuses or whatever your crazy brain will think up to not provide for your family. That's what's going to happen. So what's going to happen? It's very easy. We're very smart up here in Crazy Town. Up in Crazy Town, we can tell ourselves all kinds of reasons that are very justified as to why we can't get to things. So that's why we have calendars. We don't have to-do lists. We have have-to-do lists. And that have-to-do list tells us when throughout the day this stuff's going to get done. And that's the whole idea behind it. And that's why I don't like checklists, and I don't like those 30, 60, 90s. Yet all agents think they want them. But the minute you start showing them this, the pain starts to go across their face. Like, oh, why? Because they know I'm going to have to do it. They literally know I'm going to have to do it. That's why I like this system. These are edited documents. They are Microsoft Word documents, so they can be edited. You can stretch it out, as far as you want to take them. But it's really easy to get in here and just click. And I don't want to do it because I'm afraid I won't put it back right. But you can change anything you want to. You know what I mean? You can change courses around because every team's going to be a little bit different. They're going to have different CRMs. I've got in here. On the first day, they're going to do their first day welcome checklist items. Well, I'm going to show you that if you haven't seen it. And then, they're going to start to go through their CRM training. Well, this CRM has 4 videos to train you. Some might have 10 or 15 that they have to get through. So you're going to have to edit it your way. I don't know when their team meetings are. Every single Friday, though, and this time could vary, they're going to meet with the team leader at 10:30 to make sure they got through all of this stuff, right? And that's going to be every single Friday. Every single Friday, they're going to get through it, right? And that is very important to have that accountability to make sure we're covering all this. Okay. And that's every Friday throughout this whole 2-month process. Again, if you really want to do it for 100 days, if you want to keep it that tight all the way out, the way I've got it set, again, this is for the first 2 months, the first 8 weeks, because then they can maybe go to checklist that last month, right? And guess what? I know this gets crazy to people, but especially if you're talking about new licensees don't know that real estate agents don't work yet. They don't. So it's at that point in time that they'll actually come in and they actually want training, and they expect to have an orientation process like Google or Facebook or Amazon or General Electric or something. They expect that. They want that. And if you've ever ran an office or a team, you hear them running around, I'm just lost, I'm floating around. And that's what they always complain about, because during those first 2 months, they're not ruined yet. It's during those first 2 months, they actually want the training. They're not spoiled. They haven't gone to a traditional brokerage and said, well, you just got to kind of learn on the fly. That's the way they do it. They haven't done that yet. So you can actually effectuate and get them to set good habits during those first 2 months, and expect to come into the office or expect to do the work in a remote setting every single time, so long as we're holding them accountable to it, right? So that this is actually the time you can do it. And this is the difference between top teams and no's. I see it all the time. This is the teams that succeed and keep growing and use systems that are taught to them. Because I'll tell you right now, very few teams, if any, effectively use a 30, 60, 90 or a first quarter checklist. Very few. They have it, it's there, it's an afterthought, no one does it, and you constantly blame your agents for not doing it. Because it's a faulty system. It doesn't work from a time, it's a to-do list. And they're never going to get to that. They're certainly not going to do it on time. They're not going to have it done in 30, 60, 90 days. That I guarantee you. However, if they show up and they're told, and they don't have to make any decisions, because the last thing we want is freaking human beings making decisions with their calendar. Any human, I don't care who you are, if you make decisions about how you spend a day, you are going to get less productive. You cannot allow yourself to make decisions if you want to be highly productive. Most agents right now realize they don't have a choice but be highly productive if they're going to provide for their family and stay in the real estate business. So we as leaders have to make sure they are too. And you can see every morning, part of that training is getting their sphere of influence contacts together for an hour and making some contacts, and then doing some prospecting calls. Again, that could be calling your SOI. It could be calling leads from the team. Who knows? Every team's different, so you got some flexibility. But we're talking about 2 hours every morning from day freaking 2. They are prospecting. So they're going to start, and that's the best way to learn. But you let them go too far before you start them on prospecting, they're already going to have decisions, and they're going to make opinions. These freaking morons are going to actually form opinions about lead generation. And they've been licensed for 2 days. It's amazing how people become experts about deciding what's for them, what's not for them, and what they can do and what they can't. You can't let them make those decisions. That just is what it is. Okay. So they will start to learn that they can do it despite their inhibitions, right? And you can see we're putting them through a new course called the Team Onboarding course. And you can see every day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you got 1, then 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 modules a day for the first 2 weeks. Again, you're like, what agent's going to do 2 modules a day? A brand new licensee certainly would. A brand new license, they don't know any different. We're breaking them up. And if they tell you I don't like it, of course they're going to say I don't like it. They're not going to like the prospecting in the morning either. So you got to fight through that. These are very short courses. They're quick, they're easy, and they'll get through it. And it's a very long course too. You can see in week 2, we're going to keep it going. They get to module 20, 21, 22, 23. We're going to keep them learning while they will. They will in the first 2 months. Then in weeks 5 and 6, we tailor it back. Now they're done with the onboarding course, which by the way is a total of 34 modules. And we start moving them into other courses in our online learning center. In this case, I put DISC on there because everybody kind of needs to know the DISC. It helps you at everything, negotiating, identifying behaviors, mirror matching, you name it, learning about yourself. And then I move, then we move them into, to other courses, and they can hodgepodge it. Maybe they're a team that does a lot of farming. Maybe they're a team that prospects for expires. Who knows where we got to focus? That's where we got to custom fit this thing a little bit, right? Maybe it's agent financials. Everybody could learn the back end, the accounting systems, what have you. But you can see I'm starting to get them done earlier. Why? Because they're out there in the agent world. They might be in the office seeing the other people aren't working and they're realizing I don't need to. And those other low producing agents are going to start to give them wonderful opinions. Like, you don't need to do all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to start. So I am starting to bring it back and dial it back on the learning and starting to free up their afternoons. I like to keep them busy till 1 if I can, at least through lead follow-up, right? So they're going to lead generate, do some learning, and then do some lead follow-up. And then of course we're showing property and listing property, or maybe even door knocking in the afternoons after 1 or 2 o'clock or what have you. But I like to always keep them regimented in the mornings. And that's what creates successful people, right? So we start tailoring that back as we get out to the end, right? So we start dialing back the videos, that kind of thing slowly over time, and they get through the entire course, okay? And we're gonna hold them accountable every single Friday. They're gonna lead generate in the morning and keep learning. And you're gonna see this is very self-managed. That's what I want you to know here. A team leader doesn't have to do all this. This is designed to be a self-managed calendar. There is nothing on there at all that, with the exception of meeting with them at the weekend, that the team leader has to do additionally. You'll notice on there, they have to go to a team meeting. Well, of course they do. We're having that anyway. They are responsible to watch their own videos. They are responsible to find someone on the team to shadow a buyer consultation. They're responsible to find someone on the team to shadow an open house. So there is very little on there that they aren't just responsible for themselves to self-manage themselves. All we do is provide them with the calendar, meet with them every single Friday, and it's self-managed. So if you're saying I'm too busy to do all that, all you got to do is hold them accountable to doing it. That is it. In fact, on all our sample dashboards, you can actually see that there's actually training measures up there that we can hold them accountable to in the team meeting, so that everybody can see if the agents are getting through. You know, all the seasoned agents can then have some peer accountability and see that the new licensees are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And boy, if that's not some group accountability, some peer accountability that generates professional and personal responsibility in the new agents, holy moly, nothing will. I mean, they want to impress. So all of a sudden, we're going to have our new licensees that are learning, getting so much value from the team. You're building so much loyalty. They appreciate your mentorship. And then we go from a situation where they say, no one ever has time for me, I don't know enough, to, wow, this is impressive. And right now, this is a massive recruiting tool. Imagine like being out there in the recruiting world and saying, this is what we're going to put you through. And this is why our agents succeed. And this is why our average agent has a gross commission income number of this much per year or whatnot. It's because we go through this and you actually finally learn. And right now, they'll actually say, that's what I want. New licensees or even experienced agents that are leaving teams because they're starving, because they're hungry. They realize, you know, they're never going to admit it. They're never going to admit that they were told to do a lot of this stuff and they didn't do it, but they're going to say, yeah, this is it. This is what I need. And they're going to go there right now. When sales volume drops, it's, you know, that's what happens, is all of a sudden you can recruit with value. You know, the discount brokerages die. So you can actually add, because they realize 0% of zero is still zero. So all of a sudden now you can be out there and you can actually recruit with value. And this is a great way to demonstrate it and show it, right? And it's very self-managed, so that team leader, the whole thing is designed, so here it is, I'm just going to meet with you once a week and get it done. Otherwise, they're on their own. They've got to learn that habit, that they think that they're going to be self-managed. We're not trying to build little socialist babies that run around saying, I need everything given to me. We want them to go out and find it. We want them to seek it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want them to get out there and learn that they run their own business. They're independent contractors, even, you know, as agents, even though they're on our team. So they need to be responsible for themselves, and we're going to hold you accountable for it. You got to get to know people. You got to get out there and learn these things. There's a couple things we're going to show you, like the first quarter checklist and maybe some administrative training that first couple weeks. But other than that, it's pretty much they got to get it done, you know, and they will do it when they first start. Okay. So that's the idea. Next up, I'm going to show you that first quarter checklist, or first day welcome orientation list, excuse me. So when they come, this, you know, I'm not going to spend a ton of time here because it, you know, it's very administrative, so it bores the holy heck out of me. But again, this is fully editable. You can get on here and, delete and change everything, because every team's going to have different, like whether they got to have a parking code key or, an alarm code, every team's going to be different. So they got to be able to edit this, but it's basically a sheet of paper that on the first day, we got to get this handled. They got to get their like MLS logins, and they got to get their license sent in. And, it's a bunch of like administrative stuff. We got to schedule some things, go over the team onboarding calendar, show them how to get into the online learning center, show them where the supply desk is. So there's a bunch of common stuff that teams and offices have and use, but that's a big part. So we are going to have to go over that with them in part of their first day orientation. This is kind of an orientation checklist here that they can all use, that all of our clients and teams can use as well. Okay, so that's how that's the first action item on the team onboarding calendar is, right? Then for all the traditionalists out there that just have to have a to-do list, again, I would definitely never let anyone just use a first quarter checklist or a 30, 60, 90 or anything like that. I just don't see them ever getting done. That's why I feel that way, but I'm going to show you and it is directly tied to our agent onboarding calendar. So you can use them both. Literally, this is the day one schedule on the agent onboarding calendar that has by when's next to it. This is day two. This literally jives up exactly to the agent onboarding calendar. We spent lots of time going through this and getting this nailed down. And basically it's very, very focused, because that's when you have that control over them. And then once we get into, week two, same thing. It rolls through it. And then after the first couple weeks here, for your accountability meeting, you can sit down and make sure they did all this and keep tallies if you'd like to on those Friday meetings when the team leaders meeting with the agents. Then we get into week three. And once we get into week three, now we're going to start looking at it like a traditional 30, 60, 90. So we're looking, every day we should be doing these things and getting through certain courses. And then same with week four. So it's not so mundane. Week four, we should be getting through all these things. Week five, all these things. Week six, week seven, and it moves all the way through to week 8, 9, 10, blah, 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 same deal. The difference I did here is I really dialed it down to exactly what we're doing on the very first days. I think it's very important to get that granular and get that specific. So this could be used right alongside it, but never in lieu of, in my opinion. I really want to have those calendars. I want to know what they're doing, because if they start making decisions when they're going to do these activities on the first quarter checklist, which is a quarter of the year, which is 3 months, just so you know why we call it a first quarter checklist. It is not football related. It is a quarter of the year. Again, you hear them called first 100 days. You hear them called 30, 60, 90. You've got all this stuff all over the place. We call them first quarter checklist, same deal, just semantics. But those three things are what we put together to help get new onboarding, which is what everybody wants. Now, with that being said, let me take you through and show you our course, okay? So this is the team onboarding course here that now lives in the online learning center. And all of those files that I just went through, all of our coaching clients have access to those as well too. They are in our ICC coaching program. So those are all in files, the files section for them as well too. But, we can also go through this course, and this new course actually is kind of laid out, and it's in there and it's live for our clients right now. And it's how they kind of onboard through it. And you're going to see, you can see all the modules. And this is how we take them through team onboarding. It's everything as we roll through, it's creating their sphere of influence first, who to put it in, how to contact it, how to get uncomfortable. And each one of these, as usual, comes with, an audio file, a video file for those who want to listen or watch. And of course, we've got our workbook over here where they can pull down our workbook and scroll through and they can teach it to their team live. They could have their agents go through it. They can just play the video and then talk about it afterwards and hand out the workbooks, however they want to do it, or they can just hold their agents accountable to logging in and going through and watching the videos and using the workbooks and all the scripts that come with each module and all of that as well too. All of it suddenly is in here as we keep moving through all the way You can see it starts to move through the SOI stuff and gets into like all different kinds of social media, digital marketing. It weaves in a lot about agent mindset in here. Negotiations are in here. Time management is in here. How to contact online leads or any other leads that are given to agents by the team is mixed in. How to convert buyer leads, seller leads, more mindset stuff. Some general negotiation stuff and how to mirror and match with clients and et cetera, all provided in the course. Again, each one of these courses, comes with its own video and drop down and scripts and tools with each module. So this is super robust, and it's a very long course. And as you can see, it just runs nice and neat and holds everybody all the way through. So they can, and again, they'll all have their own user logins to this on the team, so they can all log in and hold the agents accountable to doing it themselves. Or the team can teach them live. The team can watch the video of me and turn around and be me. So lots of different ways to do it. The self-managed way is where most busy team leaders go, and they have their agents have login. They hold them accountable to getting through the videos on their own. So that's the idea. I hope that helps.